Welcome to the channel. This is Geauxgreddy and welcome to the 2020-2021 FIA Manufacturers Season on GT Sport. Tonight is race number 9 at Laguna Seca and we are in the Group 3 Beetle. Looking to yeet, so stick around to check out the action, and before we get to it, if you'd be so kind as hit the like and or subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. On to the lobby. We're number 17th in this lobby, so it is a B lobby. We are still making our way up the ranks, sitting around 23-7-ish right now, so good chance to make up some points in this lobby if we do well. Heading out to qualifying, and I'm sitting on a 121.140. Not a bad lap, not the best I've done, and then all of a sudden Geauxgreddy 61 sets also a not bad lap, so a little too tight there. I can't have that, but I have a plan. So we exit, we pit back out on some fresh new rubber. Gonna try and put down a hot lap, so take it nice and easy into the last corner on the racetrack. Get a good exit out of there, really put the power down coming down the straight, and I put it close to the wall there, try and cut a little bit of distance, a little autocross line there. Save that distance, save that time. Smash the brakes there before the 3-board. Get to the inside on the curbing. Stay on the inside. Stay on the curbing. Roll the gas in. And then get on the throttle as we head down towards corner number 2. Keep it tight and tidy. Or is that corner number 3? Probably 3. Anyway, keep it tight and tidy there forward. We're just going to ease off on the throttle. Get as close to that sausage as we can. Get back on the gas in 4th gear so we don't blow out the rear end as we head towards this left-hander here. I want to hit that apex, want to get on that curbing a little bit further off of it than I would have liked to have been, but I get a pretty decent exit, so not too concerned. And get on the brakes here, about the 2-board, just lightly. I want to lay it down into the apex there, kind of use the banking a little bit as I come out the other side. Don't want to get too crazy with the car, don't want to end up in the dirt. Hit the brakes before the corkscrew there, just before the 3-board. Send it down the inside, get back on the gas, and switch to 3rd pretty quickly so I don't send the rear end around. I'm 4/10 up, so all I got to do is take this last section relatively easily, lay it down into that nice bank section there in 3rd gear. Brake here just before the 3-board. I mean just a hair before the 3-board. Drop it all the way down to 1st to rotate the Beetle, and then get back on the gas. And I take the little bug all the way to a 120.614. So I made it down into the 120s for my qualifying. I was super pumped about that. Very happy. That puts me in pole position for the start of the race. So unusual circumstance. You don't often see Geauxgreddy there sitting on pole at the beginning of the race, but I will absolutely take it. The strategy for this race, not much. Well, I mean, I take that back. There is some strategy that can be had, but fuel is not one of them. You can get to the end of the full tank of gas without having to save, but where you want to use softs or mediums is what's going to play into, I guess, the strategy. So you have to use medium tires, and you can go 20 laps on the soft. So it's just a matter of when you want to get out. If you see a gap or whatever it is, that's when you get off your softs, unless you started on the mediums. And there I am, sitting in P1, Geauxgreddy on pole with that 120.614. Right behind me there is Geauxgreddy 61 in that NSX with a 121.145, and behind him Beetle with a 121.520 in that beautiful liveried Lexus there. So like I was saying, the medium tires are definitely a good bit slower. I didn't like the feel of the medium tires, so I like to stay off of them as much as possible. But you also don't want to hang out on those softs too long to where you're slipping and sliding all over the place, and you may make a mistake. So as we get started here, I'm flipping through my menus, trying to figure out if I want to be in radar or on my brake balance menu. I finally settle on the radar. One thing you don't do very much of is you don't practice these starts, and those planes, those prop planes, are really annoying. You couldn't hear when you needed to shift. Anyway, so you don't practice the starts very often because you don't know where you're going to start in the race. You don't know how far back you're going to be. And I braked just a little bit late. I didn't want to brake too early and get hit from behind. So appears to have worked out well, as I do make it through the first double apex corner without any trouble. Lay it down through the next 2 right-handers here at Laguna, and look in the rearview mirror. And while P2 is still in the slipstream, I do have a decent gap on it. I can relax just a little bit as I head up the hill towards this fast left-hander that caught quite a few people in the practices, as well as most of the races I saw. It was just so easy to run wide there and get your tires all in the Astro and just get out of shape. So again, hitting the brakes there before the 3 board, trying to get some curbing on that left and curbing on the right as I come out, and then get into 3rd gear as soon as possible. Just a little bit squirrely as I come out of the corkscrew, but I'm able to gather it up. Get down in this right-hander, just a little bit light on the brakes, and shift down to 3rd for the Beetle, and it seemed to do just fine through there. And then, of course, last corner, I always try and get down into 1st and rotate the car around there. So I'm now out of the slipstream. I've got about a 9/10 lead on P2, and I want to maintain it and make that lead grow. I just want to keep pulling just a little bit more lead every lap to where I've just got that cushion where I can relax and just run the race. And this early in the race, the car just felt really heavy to me, and so I was just struggling just a little bit to get in the rhythm, because we'd been running the car for so light for so long on the qualifying sessions, as well as when I was practicing just before I got into the race. You know, I'd run the fuel out of the car so that it could be light, so I could get an idea of what my qualifying times would be. So I've been running in a light car before then. And then you come into the race and you set a good qualifying time, and then you come out on lap 1, lap 2, and the car is just really, it's heavy, and it feels just lumbersome as you go around the corner. And you have, of course, and you're having to brake a little bit earlier, and as you come out of the corner, it tends to just, you know, keep that momentum going, and it's sliding a little bit more. So just struggling a little bit with my rhythm on the track. I'd really like to be just a little bit smoother in this lap than I was, and it'll show up in the times. You know, I think the time here at the end of this lap is a high 121, and you know, in qualifying I ran a 120.6, so should have been a good bit lower than this. I should have been probably in the low 121s, but again, I wasn't necessarily trying to push the car hard. I was just trying to make a good solid lap and not kill my tires at the same time. So I was kind of trying to figure if I wanted to go brake balance 0, 1, or 2, and I was just kind of doing it based off how the car felt. I felt like if it was sliding too much in the back, I wanted to put my brake balance just a little more towards the front to keep it from sliding around too much. I knew I could make the tires last pretty long, so I wasn't too worried about that, but I did want to save tires. As you can see, I'm coming around through that left-hander and just staying on the edge, just slightly out of that slipstream to P2. So trying to save tires, go fast, switch brake balances, all those things at the same time while you're keeping your eye on the guy P2. Plus you're nervous because you're in P1 and you don't want to mess up the race because you got a chance to get an FIA win, which, I mean, is the creme de la creme of wins. And all that just kind of just weighs on you a little bit. So I had a pretty ugly corkscrew right there and exit. I just kind of messed up my gear shifts a little bit and allow him to get back into the slipstream. And then as we turn left here, he broke really late. And as I was going through the corner, I kind of glanced up in the rearview mirror to see where he was. I was like, oh, crap. He's about to hit the left rear, but he did not. So props to him for not smashing the backside of Greddy and spinning me out there. I'm guessing he got into that slipstream and came up on me just super fast. So fast forwarding here to lap 10, I'd put about 3 seconds on P2 by now. Like I said, just slowly extending that lead out, and it was a lot of laps that he was just hanging right there with me, and then he would make a mistake. And as I come through the corkscrew, I just kind of glanced up and I noticed that, man, that time up there, if you look at it, it's just really building. So 7.3, 7.5, and I'm like, got P2 making a mistake. So if we go back and see what happened here, is he's coming up the hill. Like I said, this fast left-hander caught a lot of folks this week. He gets out on that Astro, and there is nothing for the rubber to grip on, but he does a 360 no scope. Gets it right back on course. So a pretty good job there by P2 not to lose any more time than he had to, and not lose that position to third, although I'm sure he didn't want to lose that amount of time either. So lap 16, I'm trying to get an idea of when folks are going to be pitting. So P2 goes into the pits there on lap 16. He's going to go for the undercut. He was on the soft tire, so he will be coming out on the medium. So that made me feel good because you never know. Maybe he was hanging with me the whole time on medium tires. But that was not the case. I didn't figure it was, but you just never know sometimes. So fast forward now on to lap number 18. I've got 13 seconds over P2, and that's what I want. I want to be able to go in the pit with more than 12 seconds because I figure that'll be enough time to come out of the pit with a lead, go in, put on the mediums, no fuel. Just got to go in, go out, and keep my lead. So team gets out there, Team VW jumping out, and I'm pretty sure that's some guy that I autocross with. So I need to say hi to him before I leave the race. It looked like he might need a little BC powder or something. He's looking a little queasy there. But team gets the tires on quickly. Again, looking for the holes there in the wheels, unable to find them. So an unusually slow pit stop for the factory team. As I come out, you can see P1 there. I almost had 14 seconds on this guy going into the pits, and I come out a full 7/10 behind him. Like, that's got to be the slowest pit stop ever. I'm just like, I don't want to be behind this guy. Now, I'm pretty sure that he is on the softs, and he's going to extend them out for as long as possible. But I have no idea how long that is. And my concern is that I can't see my turning points, and I might make a mistake. And then, of course, that would allow whoever is in P2 or P3 to come back and get on my rear bumper to make the end of the race more interesting than it needed to be. So he heads into the pits on lap 20, and that is a sigh of relief for myself. I just did not want to be right behind him and just be forced through dirty air or not seeing a braking point or a turning point and make that mistake and just cost me time. Did not want that to happen. Now behind me, J.O. Alas or something like that, I believe, is trying to stay in my slipstream, probably trying to pick up maybe a position if he can hang right behind me as I'm out here on lap 21. And it does concern me a little bit because I know his tires are probably getting a little bit worn, so I'd like to put a little bit of distance between him and I, just in case he makes a mistake and then finds my car as an accident. I don't think he would do anything on purpose, but it's always a concern that you get a tire off in the dirt on the final corner or something like that and ends up taking both drivers out. That would be absolutely terrible. So I'm able to pull about a second on him on this lap, as I don't have anyone in front of me to distract me from just being able to see what all I need to see on the track and hit all my marks. And then right now you can see I'm coming up here on P15, so a lap traffic right here. And the ghosts were pretty disconcerting in the lobby as well, as they didn't really get out of your way because they knew they were ghosted, so you had to drive through them. But of course, driving through them presented their own challenges in that, like right here, this guy's just going to come over and it's just distracting. You're like, are they going to unghost? Are they going to hit me? Is something going to happen here? So it added a little bit of a challenge to the race as it went on. So lap 25, looking down, things you don't want to see blinking are lights in your race car or in your airplane. So not happy to see the fuel light blinking, and I didn't know if it had already shown me that half a lap was left, and I was like, wait a minute, how much is actually left? But then it finally pops up. I have 0.6 laps left, so plenty to finish the race, go around the final corner, get on the throttle and head down the straight for the last time as I bring the Beetle across the line in P1. Another victory for the Geauxgreddy and an FIA lobby. Factory Volkswagen should be proud. I should be getting that contract extension soon, that $1 million contract on my way. Got to thank GT Sport for their terrible penalty system, putting me down at the bottom of the B ranks and allowing this victory to culminate like it did. So thank you, GT Sport, for your awful penalty system. Couldn't do it without you. Anyway, enjoyed the victory. Hope you did. Hope you enjoyed the race. If you did, like I said, please hit that like and or subscribe. Come back, check out more videos. Until then, for myself, Geauxgreddy, y'all have a great evening. DJ Clean, take us out of here.